Hi there, welcome to the third lesson of Unit 3 called Globalization and Sustainability. In this lesson, we will explore and examine the issues of balancing our economic development and consuming resources with the sustainability of our Earth's environment and the amount of resources available. This lesson attempts to answer the question, to what extent does globalization affect sustainability? We will start with understanding how economic globalization and development relates to consuming resources. Our global economy depends on the development of resources that are manufactured into products. As you learned in previous lessons, a country's economic development depends on trading with other countries. Developing countries manufacture the products that are shipped and transported to developing countries for people to buy. Trillions of dollars and millions of jobs are generated worldwide through the manufacturing, transportation, and trading of goods. All of this requires consuming resources like water, oil and gas, food, chemicals, trees, etc. The consumption of resources is beneficial for developing a country's economy, but what about the impact on the environment? For many years, globalization was focused on developing the world's economy, but unfortunately forgot about the impact that economic development has on the environment. People cannot live without having some effect on the environment. Everyone needs materials to buy and live in a home. They need food and clothing, oil and gas and electricity for fuel, for transportation, for heating and cooling, and they need water for drinking, cooking, cleanliness, and health. All of these resources people use generate waste in the form of garbage and pollution. This means that everyone on the planet is consuming resources and creating waste from using those resources. The amount of resources a person individually consumes and the amount of waste an individual creates is called an ecological footprint. The ecological footprint is a measure of how much biologically productive land and water resources an individual uses. Usually, a person's ecological footprint is measured in hectares of land and water. If you were to take all of the Earth's amount of available bioproductive land and water resources and divide it among the total human population of the world, which is somewhere between 7 and 8 billion people, there is approximately 1.89 hectares of bioproductive land and water available for each person to use that the Earth can regenerate. However, due to modern economic development and extensive consumption of resources, globally, people are using more bioproductive land and water than what is available. In fact, on average, globally, people are using more than 3 hectares of land and resources. Remember, everyone only has about 1.89 hectares available to them. In developed countries, it's worse. Like Canada and the United States and most of Europe, people are using well over 4 hectares, which is over 2 times what the Earth has available. While in developing countries, people are consuming closer to 2 hectares. To put this into perspective, if we were to think about how much resources the Earth has available for people to consume, globally, we would need 2 Earths to sustain our consumption of resources. And for developed countries, we would need at least 4 Earths. Long story short, our global economic world is using way more resources than what the Earth can provide. This is a big problem. This overconsumption of the Earth's resources creates a challenge relating to the sustainability of our global economy. The term sustainability refers to the ability of our Earth to provide the amount of usable land and water for the economy to use without using too many resources. If we are using between 2 and 4 times or more the amount of resources available, how is this sustainable? The answer to that question is, it's not. Eventually, our global society is going to run out of available land and water for the human population to use for our survival. Another challenge related to sustainability resources is the amount of waste we are creating from consuming those resources. We are generating a massive amount of garbage and pollution from consuming resources. The trash we throw away that ends up in overflowing landfills or in the ocean, the chemicals that are dumped into our drinkable water supply from manufacturing and using our products, and the carbon dioxide being pumped into the atmosphere from burning oil and gas. Not only are we consuming our Earth's resources, but we are also using it as a massive garbage dump. So the challenges of sustainability of using Earth's resources are that we are using way too much than what we have, and we are throwing away what we don't use. So what are the solutions to the challenges of sustainability? Basically, we need to focus on stewardship of our Earth's resources. Stewardship refers to how we manage our resources so that they are used sustainably. First, we have to think about how we consume resources. People in the world's most developed countries that consume most of the world's resources need to consume less. This is not easy because millions of jobs depend on the manufacturing and trading of products in our global trade network. People in countries like Canada, United States, Europe, and the rest of the developed world are used to consuming. But the developed world needs to cut down on the stuff they use, like the sizes of houses, the amount of stuff people buy from stores, how much garbage is thrown out that could be used again and recycled, and how much oil and gas people burn in their vehicles. If the developed world cuts down on consuming resources, this will create less waste and ease the strain on the Earth's resource capacity. Second, we have to use more renewable and less non renewable resources. For example, rather than relying on non renewable sources of energy like oil and gas, we need to use more renewable resources such as solar, wind, geothermal, and other types of renewable energy. Oil and gas may be a very good source of energy, but burning fossil fuels creates a lot of pollution. Renewable resources may not have the same energy capacity yet, but they don't create the amount of waste that oil and gas does. They won't run out, and every country has an abundance of sunlight, wind, geothermal energy, and other types of renewables. Of course, this is not as easy as it sounds. The oil and gas industry is a trillion-dollar industry and is very important to the world's economy, especially right here in Alberta, where oil and gas is a very important industry for jobs and development. And as of yet, renewable energy does not have the same energy capacity as oil and gas does, but technology continues to improve. Solar, wind, geothermal, and other renewable technology will be more reliable and cheaper to use in the very near future. The technology is already changing with the shift to using green energy, like the abundance of electric cars. But we are still a long ways off from becoming independent from oil and gas. Third, we have to consider the global human population, which is around 7.5 billion people and rising. Future estimates put our global population at over 9 billion by the year 2030, and by 2011, over 11 billion. As our population continues to rise, the amount of resources needed to sustain all those people becomes more of a challenge. What's the solution to that? This is a difficult one. Either we need to decrease the number of people on the planet, which really isn't a very humane solution, or we need to figure out how to use resources wisely per person in order to sustain a growing human population. This creates some difficult choices for people, especially in the developed world. Learn to live with less stuff so that everyone on the planet can have an equal quality of life. So, the big question is, can we shift our global economy to balance the economy and jobs for development with the environment and stewardship and sustainability? I, for one, certainly hope so for our future generations.